Hey, it's Regina here at Tarot and Time in Kent, Connecticut. I'm here to talk to you about the month of July. And I'll tell you, if it's anything like how many times it took me to get this video recorded, it's going to be a doozy. So let's jump in. I've got a lot of information, a lot of notes. And after June's going to feel like a vacation, okay? June is going to feel like a vacation compared to what July is bringing into the final part of the year, because we're going to be in a lot of retrogrades, okay? Now, knowing how the world is right now, the retrogrades, I'm hoping that they're going to help us out, because we have to revisit things, we have to review things, we have to renegotiate things. So this may end up helping us in the big picture. So I have a lot of notes. Bear with me here. We're going to jump into July. Now, July is named after Julius Caesar. So he must have really loved July to name it after himself. So this month is full of retrogrades. It has a new moon in Leo. We have a full moon in Capricorn. We already know that Pluto retrograde was going on. That's going to happen from May 4th to October 13th. So themes with that are confronting hidden shadow work issues and evolving forward. Review of past choices. So even though it'll go back to the same date as December 30th, 2024, reviewing everything that's been going on there. And we won't move into fresh ground until February 7th of 2026. So now we know that the outer planets tend to always be in retrograde, but almost all of them are going to be in retrograde this month. And then Mercury, one of the personal planets, will also be going into retrograde. So what does this mean for us? Well, we start off with Neptune retrograde, and this starts on July 4th, and it's going to run until December 10th. So Neptune retrograde, this is a great time for a deeper connection with intuition and a more authentic sense of self. Neptune is the foggy, watery planet that rules the sign Pisces. And Neptune is said to be the great healer. It's also said to rule creativity, but its shadow side is that it rules illusion and delusion, things like drugs, alcohol. So maybe like narcissistic behaviors, things like that, right? Or lying. Those are great examples of things that Neptune can represent. So when it's going into its retrograde period, we have the ability here to really go deep into emotions. We have ability to remember retrogrades are associated with anything associated with the word right? Or like retrograde. So we can revisit creative projects. We can reassess our spirituality, because Neptune is super associated with our spirituality. What needs to be healed? Neptune is the great healer. So we want to take a look at these things during the retrograde period. This can be a reality check for us. Where in life are we trying to escape? We all do it. We use different means, right? Some people turn to alcohol, some people turn to sugar, some people turn to TV, or just tiptoeing around subjects. So looking at, what am I trying to escape? What am I addicted to? And what boundaries are needed? Maybe even with ourself, right? Maybe some of our old pain coming up, and we need to learn how to navigate that. And so Neptune retrograde, July 4th through December 10th. It's going to start at 2 degrees Aries back to 29 degrees of Pisces, okay? Where it last was on March 25th. So we're kind of reviewing all that's gone on. Now, October 22nd is when it will move back into Pisces, and on 12/10, it will go direct at 29 degrees Pisces, so it'll be back into Aries pretty soon after. It'll be back to 2 degrees Aries on April 1st, 2026, so we'll be on new ground as of about April 20th. Okay, of 2026. So really reviewing all that's been going on. It will be crossing over Saturn at some points that will be retrograded. Any of you Pisces out there, this is really going to affect you, because this is your ruling planet. So make the most of it, okay? Retrogrades don't have to be a horrible thing. They can, they kind of twist things up a little bit. Mercury retrograde is the one that gets a little bit more in your face, I think, and we're going to talk more about that. Then we have Uranus, the lightning bolt planet, right? Often pictured as lightning bolts. Divine intervention, divine insight. Things can just show up, okay? Or sometimes Uranus is known to break things down, like the Tower card in tarot. It was in its fall in Taurus. We're going to see changes in communication, how we live, innovations in travel. The last time that Uranus was in Gemini was 1941 to 1948. This was the generation, those born then, of the 60s social upheaval, anti-war, free love, okay? We're kind of seeing a reemergence of that right now. Freedom themes. The United States of America will be having a Uranus return. Very interesting. Uranus has been in Taurus for, I believe it's 12 years, and now it's moving into Gemini. So hold on to your hat, Geminis, because on July 10th, Uranus will move into your sign, and it's going to stay there until May of 2033. So there's a long time there. So that's about 8 years. So I forget now how long it was in Taurus, but somewhere in that 8 to 12 year range. So expect changes in how we live, neighborhoods and communities. It makes me think a lot about, our housing shortages and some cities banning Airbnb, things like that. We can expect change. We change in how we communicate. We already know we're in that world of AI, right? And Uranus rules Aquarius. Remember that. So Aquarius is all new technology. It's going to affect how we travel. There's going to be innovations in travel. So it's going to be wild times to see what Uranus does in the social communicative sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, which does rule travel. So that's why there's a twist of travel in there. Okay. So July 7th to May 2033. We'll have the Capricorn full moon. This is a great time for finding balance, okay? We're going to go back about that on our week to weeks. Let's see. We have Saturn retrograde this month. Saturn retrograde will begin July 13th through November 20th. Now remember, Saturn is the planet of responsibility, of discipline, of hard work, paying off over time. It's the ruler of Capricorn, and we're going to have that Capricorn full moon this month. And Saturn brings us success over long period. Okay. So from July 13th to November 27th, this retrograde is a great time for resetting your life's choices, adjusting your life path. 1 degree Aries back to 29 degrees Pisces, which is where we were on May 15th, 2025. Themes of introspection, revisiting commitments, reevaluating structures, resolving karmic imbalances, resetting your life's choice, adjusting your life path. What ideas are you ready to structure? What illusions are you brave enough to pierce? Saturn retrograde, we talked about bringing us back to May 5th. We won't be into new territory with Saturn until March 3rd of 2026. Saturn's going to be hanging out close to Neptune, so it's going to bring in creativity, but it can also fog things, and we don't want to be too unrealistic because Saturn hates that. Okay. This is a good time for self-care versus action, finding that balance, reevaluating your commitments, making sure they're up to date for you, and resolving karmic imbalances. Because remember, Saturn is presently in the sign of Aries. It made that move after 2.5 years in Pisces, but now it's going to move back, and it's going to move back into Pisces. So this is a great time to resolve those karmic imbalances. Well, how do we do that? Well, we look at things in the face. We look at our addictions. We look at our excuses. We look at the things that we just don't want to budge about. And we see where things need to be shifted. It's a good reality check. Saturn retrograde. Now we have Mercury retrograde this month. And yeah, there is a lot of retrogrades. Now, remember, we went through a whole bunch of retrogrades, September, October, November, December. I mean, all the way up till, I think, March, right? We had the personal planet retrogrades. Those are the ones that really get us. The Mercury, the Venus, the Mars. That was the hard part. A lot of these are the outer planets. They affect us globally, but a little less impact on our daily living, except for Mercury, okay? And Mercury retrograde begins on July 18th through August 10th. This is going to be a time where we're going to revisit everything that's been going on since June 30th. So get your notebook out. Make sure you're writing down what's been going on, because you're going to get to see it from a couple different angles, right? I always say, like, retrograde, you get to see it from this side, then you get to see this side, then you get to see the full view, because the planet is moving along, goes to its retrograde point, moves back. It's going to move all the way back to the same place it was on June 30th. And then it'll go direct and it'll go back over everything that's happened. Well, this is great if you've been waiting for a response for someone, or you're waiting, maybe you applied for a job and you haven't heard. This is a good time for that, because we're going to review everything and we get almost like 3 chances with something. So this is a very social and communicative time, because Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, and it's very communicative and very busy. But it's a good time for reviewing the past few weeks, for reestablishing your goals and revisiting creative projects, okay? Pay attention. Things can be frustrating during a Mercury retro. I think even as we get close to it, we start to feel that. And technical issues are definitely something that we find a lot in Mercury retrogrades. Now, let's see, we have Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury in retrograde. By the end of the month, on the 24th, we'll have the Leo new moon. I'll talk a little bit about that later. Yeah, I have a lot of notes, I'll tell you. And what else do I want to tell you? Venus is going to make its move at the end of the month from the social sign of Gemini. On the 29th, it will move into the nurturing sign of Cancer. Now remember, Jupiter's hanging out in Cancer too. So that can be a really good time for love, because Jupiter's going to make things bigger. It's a lucky planet. And Venus in this nurturing sign of Cancer is a good time to nurture your relationships, to mother yourself, to rest. Gentle movements like swimming and gentle yoga and like foam rolling and all that kind of stuff. Great time to sip tea, enjoy gardens and beautiful meals, and donate to your local food bank, okay? Help take care of others and let them have a quality of life that we all deserve. Now, at the end of the month, we'll have Chiron retrograde, and that's going to go from July 30th to January 2026. And Chiron isn't a planet. I do believe it's considered an asteroid, but Chiron represents in astrology our wound point. And so Chiron is retrograding in the sign of Aries. Well, Aries has to do with our early childhood. So I wrote down, it's never too late to have a happy childhood, okay? It's never too late to start to heal that, so we can take maybe the good moments and treasure those. Maybe all the moments weren't great, but we can find our happiness in it. So as Chiron retrogrades through the sign of Aries, which is associated with our early childhood, we can face our wounds and heal it. And with Chiron energy, when we face it, it can become our greatest strength, okay? And I know that sounds cheesy, but I'm telling you from experience, I really think there's something to that. Chiron retrograde will begin at 27 degrees Aries, moving back to 22 degrees Aries. It's a very slow mover. Reliving old wounds. The first aid kit has been handed to you. Now you just need to acknowledge your wounds and pull them out of the closet that you stuffed them in. Turn your pain into power, like a therapist making you talk out your issues so you have a breakthrough. Take advantage of it. Let it heal. This is a good month for that, okay? And so making the most out of July. Now, I picked a couple cards as a theme cards for the month. And the first card that came up here from the Herb Crafters Tarot is the Nine of Water. And this is Peach in this beautiful tarot deck. Now, to me, I was like really surprised to see this card show up for July because, yeah, it's summer and it's beautiful, but this feels really intense to me. But the Nine of Water is traditionally called the Make-A-Wish card. And so you want to be thinking about what truly brings you joy. Okay, the simple pleasures. And I just noticed, I don't think I ever noticed that before. There's like a robe hanging there. So it looks like maybe the person undressed and went swimming and their robe is there when they come back. So there's a sweetness to this. There's a gentleness to this. And that's what we're going to have to be for ourselves during this retrograde, because the world's pretty crazy right now. Life is intense. And then all these retrogrades are going to make an interesting twist of things. Be gentle, be kind, savor the beauty of the season. Now, the King of Pentacles was the other card that came out for the themes for the month. This is from the Tarot of the New Vision, and it shows like the back of some of the traditional cards that we know from Rider-Waite. So we know that that King of Pentacles is there in the background, sitting on his throne, facing the other way, and we get to see behind him. We get to see, I don't know if that's an egret, and his carving into the back of his throne. We can see he's looking out at the people working in the fields. He's monitoring things, and the king energy, I don't know, I couldn't help but feel like, because I'm in the United States, it felt like our president and kind of seeing behind the scenes of what's really going on, or maybe like where his history, things like that. And also I find it very interesting that it's looking out over a field with people out there harvesting, and, without getting too political, because it's way too easy for me to do, because I'm extremely outraged right now. But a lot of those people picking those crops are the people who are being targeted by immigration right now. So I find that that is an interesting twist of what has come up over through this King of Pentacles. Also, that bird, I don't really know for sure, but what came to mind when I looked at that was like, I know there's a lot of birds in the Bible that are considered unclean. And we know that there's a lot going on in the US right now about like bringing the Bible back into school. So I kind of got like some Bible tones back there. And then you've got these immigration things out there. They just don't seem to line up. And so we've got also with the Nine of Water next to it, it's like, don't let these situations completely rob your joy. Okay. I have been using that as a mantra lately because it has been robbing my joy, and I don't want to allow that to happen. Okay. So very interesting cards here. The other card that showed up, and I didn't even mean to pick an oracle. I was actually trying to work with the Relative Tarot deck, but I had mixed in one of the oracles that came with the deck. And this is the Communication card. And so we've got this old-timey telephone, and we've got what looks like an angel there, because remember, this deck, this was Carrie Paris's fans that sent in pictures of their loved ones that she made the deck with. So communication. So we know communication is what Mercury retrograde's all about. So I thought that was interesting that that was the card that showed up. And so there's something about keeping the lines of communication open. If there's people that you need to connect with or you haven't spoken to in a while, you may want to reach out. The King of Pentacles kind of has like, I don't know, kind of like long-term, like older person, like almost like your father or your grandfather or something. Maybe there's a need to reach out. Also, the communication card to me feels very like communicating with the other side and the help that we so need right now. So something about the lines of communication here as we enter this Mercury retrograde. So I'm just going to leave those cards there as our theme cards. And we're going to jump into week by week. Okay. So we left off last month on June 30th. So we're at the week of June 30th to July 6th. And on Monday, 6:30, remember 6:30 is the date that the Mercury retrograde is going to take us back to. So get the notebook out, observe what's going on, because you're going to get to see it from all these different angles. And by the end, you will have clarity. Okay. So Mercury retrograde bringing us back to that day. The sun is conjunct Jupiter. The moon is in the sign of Virgo. And you know what else is in Virgo? Mars. Planet of action. So you can probably get a lot done there on Monday, the 30th. Now, on Tuesday the 1st, we'll have the moon continuing to be in the sign of Virgo until about 5:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it moves into the sign of Libra. So we want to use our words for balance and harmony on July 1st. On July 2nd, we'll have the moon in Libra all day. And remember, Libra is balance and harmony. It's ruled by Venus. Venus is the diplomat, the balancer. And so the moon will be square the sun and Jupiter, but it's got a positive aspect going on with Mercury. And we've also got some nice trining, flowing, positive energy with Venus and Pluto. So enjoy your relationships on 7/2. 7/3, I wrote down that there's some lighter energy coming in. We should enjoy the celebrations. Now, Venus does enter the sign of Gemini there on the 4th, and a lot happens on the 4th. So Venus moves to Gemini. Love can show up out of the blue. It's lighthearted, flirty, and impulsive, right? I often think of the Lovers card when I think of Venus in Gemini, because everybody's really excited to get the Lovers card, but the Lovers card is really about choices, okay? Because you see on the Lovers card in tarot, usually the traditional version is Adam and Eve, and they're going to eat the apple, and they've been tempted by the serpent. And so they don't really think it through, right? I'm a Gemini moon. Sometimes if something sounds fun, it's like, yeah, let's do that, but don't always think it through. So make sure that you're really looking at your decision making. Have a great time. It's social and great conversation, love showing up, but take a good look at your spending, because Venus is your wallet too, and your whim decision making. Now, on that same day, that's when Neptune retrograde begins. We already talked about that. Maybe get out some old notebooks. Maybe look at some things. If you're a writer, if you're someone who just like keeps ideas of what you want to do, go back and look through some of those notebooks. You know, I keep all my notebooks, and my notebooks sometimes are just lists and things going on, and mixed in might be some journaling. And I keep them because sometimes I'll just open them up and see, and it kind of helps me record things over time, remember things. And I also have a lot of readings between, the store. I have so many readers coming in, and I get a lot of readings from people. I will write them down because I find that it takes a little while for things to manifest, and I like to go back and look and see and reflect on it. So go back through some of those projects. You never know what you will find, okay? So now we've got, let's see, we are on Venus entering Gemini on July 1st, and I wrote down, shut up and have fun. And why did I write that? Because there's some squares going on with Mercury, and we know we're going to revisit this, and squares are challenges. But there's also like a lot of fun energy in the air. So don't get into politics. Don't get into deep stuff. Just keep it light and have a great time on the 4th of July, when the moon will be in the sign of Scorpio, entering into Scorpio early in the morning on Friday the 4th. I love Scorpio. I think it's going to be a heck of a good time. There's a lot of deep emotion, and intuition will run high. So trust intuition, especially for safety matters on the 4th of July. Okay. Now, Neptune retrograde begins. We go into the 5th. Remember, now we're heading towards the full Capricorn moon. So things get intense. You know that. Anytime we get up to a full moon, you may want to get your moon water out. Just putting water in a jar, like a mason jar, and you can start to write down I like to often write down things I'm grateful for on the full moon, or things that I want to continue to flourish. And so get your moon water going over the weekend. Saturday, the moon will be in Scorpio, Saturday the 5th. So it'll be intense, but there'll be a lot of fun to be had. And it has sexy energy when it's Scorpio. Sunday, the moon will be in Scorpio all day until 6:06 p.m. There'll be a lot of emotions. The moon's going to be opposite Venus. So you have to make sure that you're like considerate to other people's feelings, especially women, but you can still enjoy. And as long as you're giving and feeling and understanding, you should have a really good time on Sunday the 6th. Let's pick some cards for that 4th of July, week. And we're going to keep our cards up here that were our month overview. Oop, I got a jumper card there. Let me pick a couple more. I'll flip that one back over. And just a couple themes for you for this 4th of July week. what you need to know, what you need to be careful of. I guess we're getting 2 of those. Okay, haven't looked at any of these yet. The jumper card was the 5 of water, and it's golden seal. Now, I know golden seal is used, well, I think it's to build immunity, but it also, a lot of people use it, like if they have to get marijuana tested, drug tested, they'll use golden seal because it clears you out. Okay, it's a really good cleanser. This is the 5 of water, the 5 of cups, and sometimes that is about sadness, but to me, this shows boundaries. Like these plants are growing by the water, but there's fences around it. It's guarded off, okay? So making sure you're not too guarded with your emotions, but in some ways you may need to guard your emotions this week because you don't want to get into arguments with people, okay? So we see 5, a change, water, emotion, golden seal. Let's see what else we've got. We've got the 6 of wands, so it looks very triumphant, all right? Like people are glad to see him. This is a card of victory, so it looks like you're going to do well with that. And these 2 came out here at the end. One is the Sun and one is the 2 of Wands. This is from the Relative Tarot deck. So the Sun, you know, we're 4th of July here. We've been waiting for the sun to shine in New England for a long time. So here it is. It's a card of joy and they look like they're having a great time. And then the 2 of Wands, a relationship number 2, Wands, passionate. And she is really looking at that world straight in the eyes. And so well, 2 of Wands is exciting because it's like taking a trip or going somewhere. She's really looking at the world. Maybe she's really looking at the state of the world. The sun is there shining brightly. That first card about like protection, protecting your emotions, you may want to, like, you know, it's a fine line between being informed and then checking out. And we need people to stay informed and to stay involved. But we also need to find that balance and protect our peace. Okay. So that's kind of the vibe that I was getting here. So those are your cards for that week of July 1st. The next week, let's push these to the side and we are going to go into the week of July 10th through July 13th. And again, this is our Capricorn full moon week. We know things get a little wild and crazy on full moons. So on Monday the 7th, let's see, Uranus moves into Gemini. Now, Uranus was considered to be in its fall or its worst position in Taurus. So I think it's going to be a relief to you Tauruses because you had a planet that didn't do that great in your sign moving out. I think that's going to lighten things up for you. Now, Gemini is going to take it, and I think it does really well in Gemini. So this is a much better situation, okay? The moon is going to be trine Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury, and trines are what we want. They're positive. So we can get work done. We can find that balance between work and play, which feels, when I think of Neptune and Saturn together, it's kind of a little bit of both. The full moon has that theme in general because it's a Capricorn full moon, which means the sun will be in Cancer, nurturing kind of mom energy, the home, the intuition, across from the moon in Capricorn, which is like work and almost like masculine energy and determination. So we're talking about that balance no matter what, but we see a nice smooth energy there on the 7th. And let's see, what did I write down for the 7th? Where's mine? I got too many notes going on here. For the 7th, I wrote down less being willful, more lightheartedness, okay? Uranus enters Gemini, and so on the 8th, you want to just get out and about, all right? Just get out and do stuff. Wednesday the 9th, you can get work done. The moon is going to be opposite Jupiter, so this is our full moon, okay? 18 degrees Capricorn. It peaks on Thursday the 10th at 4:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be opposite Jupiter. So Jupiter makes everything big, and it's going to be trining Mars, the planet of action, and Uranus, the oh wow planet. So this is going to be an interesting full moon. This is a great time for finding balance. So home life, private life, family commitments, nurturing rest on one side, and on the other side, work, public life, reputation, accountability. All right, let's take a look at it. And let's see how we can do it better. This is called the blessing moon, and I really like that. So We've got the 11th. So remember, the full moon happens on the 10th, but it's still going to affect us for the next few days. On the 11th, pay attention to the needed change that is being shown to you. And so the 11th, the moon's going to be conjunct Pluto. Together with Pluto, the planet of transformation and change. It's going to be trining Venus and Uranus. That's a nice thing. Venus is going to be squaring Mars, the planet of action, for a lot of the month. And so there's a little bit of discord between men and women. And so we're just going to have to keep that in mind, that that's there. Okay. Venus kind of wants the soft gentleness and the square. Mars wants to get out there and go. So we're going to have to compromise and find middle ground for most of the month and probably in general. Okay. So the weekend, the moon's going to move into Aquarius at 1:21 p.m. on Friday the 11th. So we already have some Uranus energy going on. Aquarius, we know it's a rebellious sign. We know it's an unpredictable sign. And on Saturday the 12th, the moon will be opposite Mercury in the sign of Leo, 14 degrees. You want to make sure that your conversations aren't too self-centered and remembering others too. Okay, really important over the weekend. And Sunday, do your own thing. Go to bed early. It's a little intense. Saturn retrograde begins at 12:07 a.m. on the 13th, okay? And that's going to go into November. So remember, Saturn retrograde, July 13th through November 27th, resetting your life choices, adjusting your life path, self-care versus action, reevaluating your commitments, and resolving karmic imbalances. It's going to be a wild time. All right, let's give us a few cards for that full moon week. Remember, those are our theme cards for the month up top. And let's see what we need to know for this Capricorn full moon week. All right, I guess we're getting two of those. Let's throw in an oracle here. All right, let's see what we've got. Your first card is the Two of Water, Mallow. And, I referenced the Lover's card earlier, and to me, the Two of Cups is really the Lover's card. To me, this is a harmonious relationship card. Mallow, I think it's, if I'm correct, I think they use that in like calming tinctures. So Two of Water, hummingbirds, they're having a great time together. They're swimming in this little fountain. It's so beautiful. Enjoy your relationships. They're really special. Get out into nature. Now, you've got the Page of Pentacles. So we've got Page is young energy. Pentacles is anything of value. She's kind of going like, So she's kind of evaluating what's important. All right. And young energy, so playful energy. Then you've got the Eight of Swords here, the good old human card of overthinking everything and thinking we're stuck. Okay, she's dressed beautifully. She looks like a Venus-like statue. So making sure that you know that, you are free. A lot of this is just the mindset. Let's see what your oracle is. It's the Disconnect card. Disconnect. So you're going to have to look at what needs to be disconnected from. It's coming in next to this thought stuff. So it's like, maybe there's just some thoughts that aren't serving you, right? Capricorn energy sometimes can be very, very strict. And this is showing that you need lightness. And we're talking about that balance, okay? So it makes sense to me that these cards would show up. All right, great. I'm going to move these to the side and we are going to go into the next week, which is July 15th through the 20th. This is the week that Mercury retrograde starts. So on July 4th, we'll have moved into Pisces. It moved in the evening of the 13th. So the moon's going to be square Venus, which is a little bit hard for our relationships. It's going to be opposite Mars in the sign of Virgo. Don't make promises you can't fulfill, please. Okay. This is Pisces. We know that we've got Neptune and Saturn retrograding back to Pisces. We know that the ruler of Pisces, Neptune, is retrograding. So things are foggy, confusing, and we will revisit this. So don't make promises you can't fulfill on the 14th. The 15th, the moon will be together with Saturn and Neptune, still opposite Mars and Virgo. Again, this Venus square Mars continues all through the week. We've got Jupiter square Saturn and Neptune. So got a little challenges this week. Tuesday the 15th is a great time to bring your creative project to life. Now, we're going to be going into the Mercury retrograde, and it's not like I like to release things out into the world when we're close to a Mercury retrograde. If you really need to get something out there, promoted, or introduce something new to the world, Tuesday the 15th, but I don't recommend doing it much closer to Mercury retrograde because that's going to start on the 18th. Now, the 16th, the moon will continue. Well, it's going to move into Aries in the evening. So we will have Aries energy on the 16th. And I wrote down, speak now or hold your peace until after Mercury retrograde, which begins on the 18th at 12:45 a.m. So we technically have the 17th where it's still direct. Yes, we're in the shadow period. Yes, it's not the ideal time to push forward with things, but it's still not technically retrograde till the 18th. So any final purchases, do it on the 17th. Now, the 18th, get your notebook out, take notes. Mercury retrograde starting at 15 degrees Leo and going back to 4 degrees Leo, which is where it was on June 30th. This is, a good time to review things. I think I've already talked about that, reviewing the past few weeks, reestablishing your goals, revisiting creative projects, all taking place in that heart-based sign of Leo, which means that when we have this Leo new moon, it's going to be together with Mercury in its retrograde. Be aware of overconfidence, pride. It's not the time for loud declarations. Leo is a fixed fire sign, and so we got to be careful not to get into it with people. We got to be careful not to be too self-centered with Mercury traveling through Leo. Now, then we can get stuff done. The moon in Taurus will be trining Mars, the planet of action, in Virgo. So it's a good time to clean. It's a good time to get things done and enjoy the 19th. On Sunday, the 20th, the moon will be trine Pluto, and the moon will have moved into Gemini early in the morning. So it's super flirty energy, social. Enjoy it, okay? But again, remember that we're going to revisit it. Remember that we're heading to a Leo new moon, okay? And I love Leo, and a healthy Leo is a beautiful thing. A healthy Leo knows how to be healthy, selfish, but an imbalanced Leo just knows how to be selfish. And so we want to be careful of those characteristics during this period with a lot of Leo energy heading to the Leo new moon. We currently have Pluto retrograde, Neptune, Saturn, Mercury. I think that's all of them for now. All right, so let's pull a couple cards for you this Mercury retrograde beginning here and see what you need to know. Heading to the Leo new moon, so you can also make moon water as we're heading that way. Let's see what we've got going on here. First card, Eight of Water, Valerian. I just love that. I love the blue tones. I love the steamy tea. It's so pretty. So Eight of Cups, Valerian. Valerian is often used in sleep tinctures, so it's very calming. There's just such a beauty to it. Okay, so enjoy the simple pleasures. We have the King of Wands, who would be a Leo king, and he's kind of looking out, and I like how his throne has carved in there a relationship and a lion. And the King of Wands is a dynamic fire king that wants to get out and live. And Pillar. This feels like Saturn to me. Pillar, strength, someone to lean on. All right. So let me just pull one more so I understand what that pillar one is about. It's the King of Cups here. So we've got the King of Emotions next to the King of Wands. We've got this pillar of strength in the middle, and we've got water, fire. This feels earth, water, and just being strong. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of fire energy. There's a calm and steady energy. Stay calm and steady. Enjoy the simple pleasures. And the King of Wands wants to go and do and see, But remember, it's Mercury retrograde. Things are a little wacky. If you are going, if you're on a trip or anything, just check your plans 3 times. That's what's always recommended during a retrograde. Okay. We go into the week of the 21st through the 27th. And we start off the 21st with the moon in Gemini. And it's going to be together with Venus, which is really beautiful. And it's going to be sextile Mercury, which is a lovely thing. But it's going to be square Mars, the planet of action. Okay, so keep it slow. Maybe do your own thing. Enjoy what is beautiful to you. But don't try to push your way with other people. Now, because we are heading to this fixed fire moon, okay? And fixed energy doesn't want to be pushed around. So just keep things cool Monday the 21st. Tuesday the 22nd is when the sun moves into the sign of Leo at 9:29 a.m. on the 22nd. And emotions run really high, okay? The moon is conjunct Jupiter. It's square Saturn and Neptune. And you want to take care of your responsibilities and just keep the peace, okay? 23rd, take care of yourself. This is the 23rd. The moon will be in Cancer and conjunct Mercury. Take care of yourself. The 24th, Leo new moon at 3:11 p.m. Be true to yourself and have some fun. So this is a 2-degree Leo new moon. Allow the change needed to be shown to you in a gentle, loving way. I often will ask my guides, the universe, my ancestors on the other side, please help me, please bring the change I need. But I always like to say, in a gentle way. And speak your truth to yourself and maybe others if needed, but keeping in mind that we'll revisit this period. Be kind to yourself and go have some fun because Leo rules joy. It rules the heart of a child. It rules fun. It rules love. It rules dating, all that kind of stuff. So enjoy this Leo new moon. It's going to affect us through the weekend. So speak your truth on Friday the 25th, but with gentleness as the moon continues to be in the sign of Leo. On Saturday, and let's see, the moon will move into Virgo in the evening. And Mars is going to be trining Uranus. So we're going to have a strong desire for change. So I wrote down clean your house, okay? Because we're in the midst of all these retrogrades. It's not a great time to make like huge decisions for change. It's a good time to evaluate and reassess and take things in and take notes and research. But it's not a great time for change. So when the moon moves into Virgo, I always think about like rearranging my furniture. So Saturday the 26th, take advantage of that energy. Goes into Sunday the 27th when the moon continues to be in Virgo. Venus is going to be squaring Saturn and Neptune. So don't waste money. Just, enjoy the home, do things that don't cost you a lot and enjoy the energy. So let's pull a couple cards for the Leo new moon week. See what you need to know. I love this relative. What we're getting to from the relative. Okay, we've got the Devil card, and this is the blackberry pie devil version. Okay. And so, interesting. I wonder what's exactly in that pie there. And this is a Saturn card. Okay. So we know Saturn's retrograding. The devil card in general is like who's in control, where are you giving your power away? And I think it's interesting that it's like this pie, like you can dish it up and serve it out. It reminds me of guilt, right? Like, oh yeah, here's some guilt for you. And so there's some things here that it might look good, but what's really going on? That's the question that I think of when I look at this card. Now, you've got the Sun card, so we see joy. This is a Leo card. And you got the Sun card last week too. So we see a lot of fun, joy, but we see visibility. So you'll be able to see things. You may be able to see how people use guilt with you. Now you've got the Opportunity card and the Mischief card. So, what a cute little mischief card. Okay, so mischief, which kind of feels like the devil card, and opportunity. You know, I often say that I find that the devil card comes in a lot when there's big business on the table or when you're making big business decisions. And so an opportunity is going to show up. There's some mischievous vibes there. You got to trust feeling. Not the best time to make a big decision, but you can evaluate it. Remember, Jupiter's in the sign of Cancer, is close to the sun. So that's known to like for opportunities to show up. So assess them and take your time and don't rush into things. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move these to the side and we're going to move into our final week of the month, which is July 28th through August 3rd. And this is a lovely week when Venus is going to move into Cancer. So on Monday the 28th, let's see, the first 2 days of the week are the last 2 days that Venus will be in the social sign of Gemini. And the moon will be in Virgo on Monday the 28th. Now, let's see, the sun is going to be together with Mercury and it's going to be opposite Pluto. So we want to be careful with our words. We don't want to hurt people. And we want to take care of ourselves really well on Monday the 28th. Now, Tuesday the 29th, the moon will move into Libra early in the morning, a Venus sign. And Venus is just about ready to change signs. So the moon is square Venus and Jupiter. It's opposite Saturn and Neptune. There's just a lot going on. So there's going to be a lot about that work-play balance. We've seen that most of the month. So we just really need to take a look at that. Now, on the 30th, Venus moves into Cancer at 11:57 p.m. This is a good time to nurture your relationships. It's a good time to mother yourself. Gentle movements like swimming, getting the rest that you need, sipping tea, enjoying gardens and beautiful meals, and donating to your local food bank, okay? Make sure that others get a chance to feel nurtured too in whatever way that you can do that, okay? It's a good time for massage. And yes, I'm going to shamelessly promote that our store offers massage and craniosacral. This is a good time to take advantage of that. Now, this is the same time that Chiron is going to go into its retrograde. And I talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the video. It's never too late to have a happy childhood, okay? So Chiron, I was born with Chiron in Aries. So this is an interesting time to have Chiron going through the sign of Aries, a symbol of our childhood. And, you know, a retrograde is 3 times over. So we're really going to get to look at things. It could be some painful things, but they are coming up to heal. And this wound can become our greatest strength. So yeah, it may be emotional, but Venus moved into Cancer so we can nurture ourselves and we can almost reparent ourselves. And that sounds cheesy, but we have to think of ourselves as a baby that we are in charge of taking care of and being good to it. On the 31st, the moon will move into Scorpio right after lunch. Emotions run deep, and I would watch your words on Thursday the 1st. Friday, the 1st of August, the moon will continue to be in Scorpio. Trust feeling, trust nonverbal. Because we're going to pick, our intuition is going to be high. We've got the sun in a water sign. We've got Venus in a water sign. We've got the moon in a water sign. And is that all the stuff? We've got Jupiter in a water sign. So there's a lot of nonverbal communication running high. Trust it. On the weekend, so remember, we have Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, and Chiron. Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, Chiron, all retrograding. Wild times. Now, the weekend. Saturday the 2nd, the moon continues to be in Scorpio. It's going to be trining a positive aspect, Saturn and Neptune, so you can get stuff done, all right? Opportunities could show up because the moon's opposite Uranus. On Sunday, we'll have the moon move into Sagittarius in the middle of the night, and we've got some nice trines going on, and so creative projects are calling. Have a good time. Make the most of the lighthearted Sagittarius energy, and remember, we're going to be heading to an Aquarius full moon the following week, okay? So let's pick some cards here. The week of Venus entering Cancer, Chiron retrograde starting, a lot of retrograde planets, but a lot of planets in water, so we can nurture and rest and enjoy summer and take care of ourselves. Looks like we're getting, let me give you one that's not from the Relative Tarot here for the week ahead. All right, let's see. First card. Three of Wands, and Three of Wands is like, where do we want to go next? What do we want to do? Who do we want to do it with? Okay, so Three of Wands, forward, kind of forward thinking energy. Now we've got the partnership cards. It looks like we got a handshake going on here. And so we want to, I almost like look at this as like trusting our higher self. Like that's the relationship with ourself and trusting that our intuition is going to be really high right now. Trusting, feeling, honoring it. Partnership. Okay, great. We saw that love is in the air. Also, Venus entering Cancer. Let's just be careful that we're not like, often when people have Venus in Cancer or they have a lot of Cancer energy, especially if it's a woman, they need to be careful about nurturing too much, especially in love life, okay? Because you don't want to end up as a mother in all your relationships. So we see partnership. Okay, so maybe love is going to show up. Let's see what else we have. The snake charmer. Yes, he feels very Scorpio-like to me. Really interesting card. I also think it's really interesting that that's someone's relative, okay, from the Relative Tarot. So the snake charmer coming in next to partnership. So please trust. The moon will be in Scorpio all weekend, and as entertaining as a snake charmer might be, I don't know if you want to partner with them, okay? And I think that's something I've had to learn over my life, that I find people who are different and unusual to be so intriguing, right? It's gotten me into trouble so many times. So be aware. If someone tells you that they're a snake, believe them, okay? And you'll be able to feel it also. Now, your last card is the Strength card. So you've managed to get a version of like Leo energy almost each week, because this is a Leo card, Strength. And this is garlic. And we know garlic, some people find it very offensive. It's very strong. And so, I don't know, I just kind of got like there's going to be some very strong energy around you. You're going to be offered things. And it's almost like somebody like wanting to offer you a trip or something like that. Please trust your gut. All right, because you're going to be able to see through. Let me just pull one more card here. Anything else here for this week? Yeah, the Lovers. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it could be fun. Could be some interesting opportunities, but I don't get the feeling that this necessarily the right choice for you. Let's throw another one or two on. Heeding the call. Did get the communication card up front, and we got a jumper card here, which is the Coriandera of Fire. I think this is the Queen of Fire, Damiana. I'm not sure, but I think Damiana is a poisonous plant. She's the Queen of Fire. She likes fun. She likes to go. You got to be careful, though, because this is going to be a tempting offer, but I don't think it's going to be, bottom line, I think the person's a snake behind the scenes, okay? So be careful in your partnerships. And already we know we got all these retrogrades. And also just kind of looking at our own snaky energy and where we behave like that. And we were talking about breaking karmic cycles for the month in general. So we want to look at our own inner snake, okay? And take a look at that. And yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of visibility on that. All right. So that is our month of July. I know it sounds intense, but we're here. I don't know. I know for myself, I can't wait for summer to come. And yes, it's full of retrogrades, but let's envision these retrogrades to review over what's been going on. And by the time we get to the end of it, let's hope that we've learned our lessons and trust feeling, trust intuition. Don't jump into these relationships with snakes, okay? And know that that better results can come out of this after the third swipe over everything. Now, a lot of these retrogrades are going to last into the new year, right? But you can have a fabulous July, so enjoy.